Yesterday we spoke about the arrest of the previous Rebbe, none of Yud Beis, today Yud Gimel Tammuz. It was actually 2 days because when the day on Yud Beis, when they came to inform him in Kastrama that he's going to be released, they couldn't give him the proper document because the post office was closed with some kind of a holiday, so I had to wait for the next day, Yud Gimel. So we celebrate 2 days, and who doesn't want to have an extra day of celebration? Let me today share with you a little bit of the background of part of who was so instrumental in the actual release. B'derech HaTeva, obviously it was miraculous, but B'derech HaTeva, who was instrumental and who played an important role in, not from the Jewish community, so to say directly, obviously, not the family, the Rebbe who was very much involved, the Rebbe's brother-in-law was involved, there's so many chassidim and so many people, the chief rabbi of Israel was involved. But let me give you just a little bit of interesting tidbits about how some Russians, members of the Communist Party actually, who were very much involved. One of them was a woman by the name of Yekaterina Peshkova. She was one of the most influential women at that time in Russia. Fascinating woman. She was the wife, the first wife of the famed Russian writer and close friend of Stalin, Maxim Gorky. And she had personal access to the highest officials in the Soviet bureaucracy. She was the head of the political Red Cross, so she was one of the very few individuals in Russia who could petition for the rights of political prisoners, both safely and effectively. And at every stage of the bureaucratic process, with every new obstacle that arose, the Chassidim turned to her for help on the Rebbe's behalf, and she was there to help. With increasing internal and international pressure, the central authorities in Moscow commuted, as we mentioned yesterday, the Rebbe's death sentence, first to 10 years of hard labor in Solovetsky Island prison camp, described as the mother of the Gulag. Now you can imagine what that means. And then to 3 years of exile in Kostroma, some 300 kilometers away from Moscow. One particular individual, Messing, unfortunately was Jewish background. He was the staunch anti-religious chairman of the Leningrad GPU, that was the section trying to destroy all Yiddishkeit. He was furious at these interventions and retaliated by ordering the Rebbe to travel to Kostroma on Shabbos. And as we know, the Rebbe refused, and then again, Mrs. Peshkova intervened, and she got the Premier of Russia, Rykov, to personally call Messing and order him to reschedule the departure for Sunday. At that time, Russia had signed with Latvia a historic trade agreement, but it remained subject to a vote in the Latvian parliament, which was going to be held only in October. At that time, there was a Chassid, Ramad Chedubin, who was an elected member and a very prominent member in the Latvian government. And he used his powers, and he made it clear to the Russians that the deal will only go through condition to they will release the Rebbe from Russia. Because after his release from Kostroma on Yud Beis Tammuz, it was obvious he must leave Russia because he was in danger. The Russians refused, but when they saw that their important deal with Latvia was endangered, they accepted, and that's how the previous Rebbe was able to leave Russia. Now, standing on the train before his departure for Kostroma, the Rebbe delivered a stirring address to the many chassidim who had flocked to the Leningrad station. And the Rebbe said, God be with us. God will be with us. Torah, mitzvahs, and Jewish custom are not subject to the opinion of others. Nor can any oppressive force be used against them. We must remember that imprisonment and hard labor are only temporary things, whereas Torah, mitzvahs, and Jewish people are eternal. And then when the Rebbe boarded the train to leave Russia altogether, the Rebbe wrote in a very strong letter, in a painful letter, And he said the following: as water reflects a face, my heart is awake and feels the pure sweetness and power of the inner and essential bond of the entire community. My faith shall strengthen me and be my comfort. That physical distance shall never, ever separate us. And now we hope, Eibishter, with Mashiach, there should be no distance at all, because we have the Geula today.